A very good evening and welcome to World Now at 4. I am Peace Ogenegbawe. First, let's talk the headlines. On the headlines, FG assures Nigerians peace across the country. Supreme Court upholds Ruto's Kenya's presidential election win. On the international scene, Liz Truss becomes next UK Prime Minister. And on sports, Kyrgios beats Medvedev on entertaining New York night. Now let's bring you the news in detail. Nigeria's Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has reiterated that the debt for climate swap will help solve many of the debt burden challenges in Nigeria and other countries if it is widely accepted. He tabled the idea last week in the United States of America at different forums and events, including the White House. In his meetings with the top officials of the United States government, right after a speech at the Center for Global Development on Thursday, the Vice President further pushed the debt for climate, that is the DFC idea, which he had previously proposed publicly first at the CGD. The idea, described as fresh thinking in Washington, D.C. by senior American government officials, is already receiving positive reviews, even as Vice President explained the potential for significant debt cancellation for African countries. Meanwhile, the spokesperson of the Vice President, Laolu Akonde, quoted Osinbajo as having said in a release on Sunday that the proposed DFC swaps would be a very useful intervention and helpful as it will reduce debt burden while advancing the climate change objectives of the international community. Nigeria's federal government has today reassured Nigerians of peace and security returning across the country, noting that the worst of insecurity is over in the nation. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, stated this on Monday in Abuja during a joint press conference on the nation's security situation. Others who jointly addressed the present conference includes the Ministers of Defense, Bashir Magashi, Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, as well as Police Affairs, Mohammed Dingyadi. Mohammed said the security forces are winning the fight against insecurity and terrorism, adding that the President, Muhammad Buhari's regime, wouldn't stop at nothing to secure lives and properties of Nigerians. The federal government also said while the country may still witness isolated attacks on soft targets by terrorists, the security agencies have battled the agents of darkness and recorded massive victory against the terrorists. Well, the Economic Staff Union of Universities, that is ASU, has constituted a 7-member committee to address what it called a smear media campaign against the union. It said its trustees and principal officers decided to constitute a rapid response committee to immediately respond to various media publications, opinions, and interviews that may be against the interest of the union. In a letter of appointment by the ASU President, Emmanuel Osodeke, the union tasked the committee to develop strategies to tackle the alleged media smear campaign against the union, as the committee has 4 professors and 3 PhD holders in it. And moving now to Lagos State, where the governor, Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, has accepted the resignation of the Commissioner for Fiscal Planning and Urban Development, Idris Salako, Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Gbenga Omotosho, announced as the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, I beg your pardon, Gbenga Omotosho announced this in a statement today. According to the statement, this is in line with the restructuring of this ministry and its agencies. Recall that the resignation came on the heels of recent collapse of a 7-story building in Oniru, Lekki area of the state, in which 4 persons reportedly died in the ugly incident. We move to other parts of Africa when the news returns. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Kenya's Supreme Court has upheld William Ruto's victory in last month's presidential election, dismissing his rival Raila Odinga's claim that the vote was marred by rigging and irregularities. The petition was dismissed by the 7-member court, as I said, in a unanimous decision read by Chief Justice Martha Koome today.
The presidential election petition number E005 of 2022, as consolidated with the presidential election petition numbers E001, 2, 3, 4, 7, and 8 of 2022. The first respondent as president-elect to be varied under Article 143 of the Constitution. This being a matter cutting across the public interest, we order that each party do bear their own.
Ruto, who is currently the deputy president, won by 50.5% on the August 9 vote, and Odinga, a former prime minister, lost by 48.3%. The judgment paves the way for Ruto to be sworn in as President Uhuru Kenyatta's successor next week. Meanwhile, Kenya's vice president, Kenya's Vice President William Ruto, who was declared winner of Kenya's presidential election in August, said on Sunday he would respect the Supreme Court's decision, expected by confirming or invalidating the results of the vote disputed by his rival, Raila Odinga.
We will respect the decision of the judiciary because we are a country based on the rule of law and respect for all the institutions. That is the only way we will remain democratic. That's the only way we will remain a constitutional country, and that is the only way the citizens of the Republic of Kenya will be equal.
It's been a tragic Monday in Sudan as flash floods have killed 12 more people in Sudan over the past week. This brought the death toll since the start of the rainy season in May to 112. Brigadier General Abdul Jahil Abdurrahim, the spokesperson for Sudan's National Council for Civil Defense, said at least 115 people have been injured. The downpours, which began earlier than normal this year, also inundated around 85,000 houses, hospitals, schools, and other government facilities across the country. The spokesman also said the death included 74 people who drowned, 32 died when their homes collapsed, and 6 died of electrocution. Sudan's rainy season usually starts in June and lasts until the end of September, with floods peaking in August and September. Meanwhile, the United Nations last week said at least 258,000 people have been affected by the floods in 15 of Sudan's 18 provinces. We move now to world news. After this break, just stay with us. Welcome back. In the United Kingdom, as the 56th Prime Minister, Liz Truss has narrowly defeated Rishi Sunak. Britain's Conservative Party voted for the Foreign Secretary, Liz Truss, as the party's new leader, putting her in line to be confirmed as the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. The announcement came on Monday in London after a leadership election in which only the 180,000 dues-paying members of the Conservative Party were allowed to vote.
Rishi Sunak, 60,399. Liz Truss, 81,326. Therefore, I give notice that Liz Truss is elected as the leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party. We'll come up on stage.
chose beat rival Rishi Sunak, the government's former Treasury chief, by promising to increase defense spending and out taxes, while refusing to say how she would address the cost of living crisis.
I will deliver a bold plan to cut taxes and grow our economy. I will deliver on the energy crisis, dealing with people's energy bills, but also dealing with the long-term issues we have on energy supply.
The two-month leadership contest left Britain with a power vacuum at a time when consumers, workers and businesses were demanding government action to mitigate the impact of soaring food and energy prices. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has had no authority to make major policy decisions since July 7, when he announced his intention to resign. And in Canada, a manhunt is underway for two armed and dangerous men who were suspects in a mass shooting that left at least 10 dead and 15 injured at multiple scenes in an indigenous community and the surrounding area in Saskatchewan, according to authorities. The suspects, identified by police as Damian Sanderson and Miles Sanderson, are believed to be traveling in a black Nissan Rogue with Saskatchewan license plate 119 MPI, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police said, noting that it is unclear whether the pair may have changed vehicles. According to the Assistant Commissioner for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Rhonda Blackmore, said that it is certainly a very significant event, if not the largest sin in the last number of years, as some victims appear to have been targeted while others are believed to have been affected randomly. Meanwhile,
I'm here today to share with you the details of today's serious incident and to ask for your continued vigilance. Today, September 4th, at 5:40 this morning, the Saskatchewan Divisional Operations Communication Centre, or the RCMP DOCC, received a call reporting a stabbing on the James Smith Cree Nation. In the following minutes, our DOCC received multiple calls reporting additional stabbings at different locations in the community.
Meanwhile, authorities are urging residents in the area to be vigilant and take precautions, while the police issued a civil emergency alert warning those in the Regina area to be careful after police received a report the suspects may have been traveling there. Two Russian embassy employees in Kabul were killed in a suicide blast near the embassy today. This is according to the Russian Foreign Ministry, saying in a statement that an unknown militant set off an explosive device. As a result of the attack, two employees of the diplomatic mission were killed, including Afghan citizens who are victims. Kabul's police spokesperson said that explosives went off in a crowd of people after an attacker was identified and shot by Afghan security forces near the Russian embassy. However, there has not been a claim of responsibility yet. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said additional Taliban forces had been brought in to secure the embassy in the Afghan capital. Let's take a swipe on business news after this break. This is Business News on World Now at 4. Welcome back. Gas prices have soared on concerns over energy supplies after Russia announced it would not reopen its main gas pipelines to Europe. the Dutch month-ahead wholesale gas price on Monday. The Nord Stream 1 pipeline had been due to reopen on Saturday after being shut for 3 days. Meanwhile, Russia's state-owned energy firm said it had found a leak. Europe has accused Russia of using gas supplies to blackmail European countries because of the Ukraine conflict, which Moscow denies. However, wholesale prices have been very volatile in recent weeks as they fell sharply last week when Germany announced that its gas storage facilities were filling up faster than expected.
Welcome to World News. Welcome to Sport News on World Night 4. Beg your pardon. I'm Richard Badung. On the news, new signing and Brazilian youngster Anthony scored on his dream debut for Manchester United as the Brazilian's clinical strike and Marco Rashford's double inspired the United with a 3-1 win that ended Arsenal's perfect start to the season. Anthony was making his first appearance after signing for Manchester United and manager Erik ten Hag, who were team player and coach in his former team, Ajax, before he signed an £82 million deal on Thursday, opening his reign with consecutive losses against Brighton and Brentford as a humbling experience for ten Hag.
We are happy, of course, and satisfied with the win. And also the performance against a really good team as Arsenal. They also played really well. But we are then also happy with this win, clear. They play both great, I think, and they were continual threat. And I know our.
Earlier in the game, Arsenal hits back to equalize through Bukayo Saka, but Rashford blew the leaders away with 2 goals in the space of 9 second half minutes. Speaking after the game, Arsenal coach Mikel Arteta gave his own side of the game as the side was not ruthless enough.
We don't know, but there was still a long game ahead of that action that obviously looks very soft on TV. But after that, I think even conceding the goal, we were completely dominant. We were in charge of the game. We were arriving. We had chance after chance. We didn't materialize, and when the best moment that we had, we give the ball away in a really dangerous area against them. And when that happens in open spaces, we lost the game because we lack discipline today. In certain moments when you have to defend open spaces and in 1 or 2 action where you need to.
In addition to the English Premier League story, England right back Reece James has signed a new contract with Chelsea that runs to 2028. The Chelsea youth product was already under contract until 2025. A deal is signed in January 2020. Before we go, Nick Kyrgios has ended Daniil Medvedev's defense of the US Open title as they end a thrilling 4-set wins on an entertaining night in New York. The 27-year-old Australian demonstrated all of his shot-making and propensity for creating drama in a win in the last 16. Medvedev, 26, has lost his ranking as world number 1 after the defeat. Wimbledon runner-up Kyrgios goes on to play another Russian, 27th seed Karen Khachanov in the quarterfinals. Khachanov reached his 3rd Grand Slam quarterfinal by outlasting Spanish 12th seed Pablo Carreno Busta in a 4-6, 6-3, 6-1, 4-6, 6-3 win. And that's your sport news on World Now at 4. Back to Peace Ogenegwawe for the rest of the news. I am Richard Badum.
such an amazing weekend of sports. Thanks, Richard, for the sports news. And now to the rest of the news. Officials of the Nigerian Police Force, Cairo Divisional Police Headquarters of the Federal Capital Territory, have arrested 10 men and recovered some quantities of illicit drugs from the suspects at the abattoir area of Cairo in Abuja. Reporters gathered that the arrest was made on Saturday and the suspects are currently held in police custody. Confirming the incident, the FCT Police Command spokesperson, Josephine Ade, noted that they would soon be charged to court. And that's World Now at 4, but before we go, here are the headlines again. We told you that the federal government has assured Nigerians of peace across the country. Supreme Court upheld Ruto Kenya's presidential election win. And in UK, Liz Truss is to become the next UK Prime Minister. And on sport, Kyrgios beats Medvedev on entertaining New York night. Remember to visit us on Facebook at Hills TV, Instagram at Hills TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Hills TV. I am Peace Oginegbawe. Thank you for watching.